welcome everybody. Welcome to the first event of the Milk Tea Corner. We are very excited because this is the first edition of a kind of event that we are having since long time in Italy, in Europe. That is the Tea Corner. Next month will be the Tea Corner number 100. But now we are opening a new page. We want to work together with colleagues of Asia, and I'm very happy to have here with me my friends Yo-Han Choi. Yo-Han Choi is responsible in the key tech of the specific area. I leave you to present yourself later, Yo-Han. And the topic of this Tea Corner is really update, because it's one of the most important point under discussion at the COP30. We are here together, Belém, for the COP30. And the unilateral trade action, unilateral measure are a key point of discussion, and CBAM is one of these topic. So I share the presentation, and I leave to you, Bjorn, to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Daniele. Hi, everyone. My name is Yo-Han. I'm working in Korea Institute of Industrial Technology, which is founded by Korea government as a public organization. And our role is to research for Korean SMEs who does not have any ability to research by themselves. And one of the role is to help them to have countermeasuring international environmental regulation. And as you see, recently, European Commission introduced this CBAM, and it makes many Korean exporting companies confused and frustrated. However, it is already announced almost 3 or 4 years, so we understand the certain level of knowledge. However, as you see, we do not see the detailed action out there. So today I want to share with you what is the challenge for Korean company, and for now, what do we have in Korean governments. Disclaiming is I'm not a government officer, so I cannot represent the Korean government. Just as an personal expert, I introduce these things. Okay. I am a secretary of Korean National Middle Committee of the ISTC 207 on the behalf of Korea Agency of Technology and Standardization and the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resource, and the Chief of Life Cycle Assessment Team in Korea National Cleaner Production Center of Korea Institute of Industrial Technology. Okay. Actually, carbon border adjustment mechanism is a long story, so I do not say all details. Just concept, a mechanism that requires CBAM products produced in third countries like Korea and imported into. Excuse me, I need to.
I will say.
Okay, thank you. Into the EU to pay the same carbon price as products produced within the EU. I think this is fair enough. And the target product is cement, steel and iron, aluminum, fertilizer, hydrogen, and electricity. Out of these 6 items, for Korea is the cement and steel and iron is, no, I'm sorry, steel and iron and aluminum is crucial because we export to many steel and iron and the aluminum things. Actually, aluminum is not our main product, but our electric and electronics products include and automotive products include many aluminum parts. So it is concerned by Korean government company. So who will bear this duty is importer, including indirect customer representatives. So in this case, for Korean company, there is no duty for them, but these duties requires their supply chain provide their information regarding carbon emission, like precursor things. So those importers need to prove that products produced outside the EU have paid at least the EU level of carbon price, or failing that, pay the EU level of carbon pricing. So there is many new key concepts: specific embedded emissions, carbon price, embedded emissions, carbon certificates, benchmarks, free allowance ratio, CBAM registry, authorized CBAM declarant, or CBAM declaration, emission data communication template, CBAM operated portal. I cannot recall at once, but this new concept introduced to the companies in the supply chain of steel and iron and aluminum. They do not hear these kind of things ever. So, and furthermore, we have transition period that we've been through, and the verification and CN code and CBAM registry. So this is challenge for Korea government, because Korea government is very focused on trading, which means exporting. Because as you see, Korea is very small countries, so we do not go outside. We do not go to the market of outside. We cannot survive. So exporting is very crucial. And the risk is given to mainly steel and iron and aluminum industry. And especially if a company has a product relevant to the CN code of carbon CBAM giving some regulation. So most of them do not bearing the CBAM duty directly, but as a player on the supply chain, they need to provide their information. And most threatened is small and medium enterprises, because big companies like POSCO or Hyundai Motors or LG Electronics, Samsung Electronics, they are not mainly target, and they could counter, I can say, they could observe the requirement to, mostly their products are not the target of this CBAM. And even though if their products are part of them, they can have ability to prepare. But most small and medium enterprises in the supply chain, they don't have. So in case of steel and iron, worst, big companies like POSCO preparing to observe, but still competitiveness risks, because so far they are under competitiveness risks against Chinese steel and iron products in the price things. And if they need to prepare for this carbon pricing, then which means their product price is going up, and which is crucial for them. So it is very difficult for Korean steel and iron industries. And in this background, Korean SMEs are lost in space. They do not have appropriate solution, and the competitiveness of pricing. And in case of aluminum, it's worse, but not worse than the steel and iron. But in Korea, aluminum companies are mostly SMEs, and they are on the supply chain network. So they do not recognize what CBAM is, and if OEM does not require, they need to provide this kind of information. So they are very weak for these things. So the challenges for the Korean government is, how can you help companies calculate their embedded emissions efficiently? Actually, it is not required for the long supply chain, because it is limited to precursor things. However, we do not know intention of European Commission. If European Commission extended their requirement from precursor to one more supply chain, then for Korean companies, another hell is open. And to make it come true, Korean government need to develop another infrastructure, and need to raise another human resource as well. And how can you make companies aware that they are risky because they are on the supply chain, so they are not directly or indirectly required. And when they required by their buyers or supply chain, they can only recognize and aware this risk. And how can we reduce carbon emissions out of the industrial ecosystem? Actually, Korea government need to focus on these things. So we need to raise our NDC target is more higher than before. But if we do, which will lead us our price competitiveness going high because carbon pricing added in all the infrastructure. So it is another challenging. And the next one, how to achieve the balance between industrial competitiveness and carbon neutrality. I don't have this solution as well, so we are considering. Okay, the strategies of Korea government is, I think, awareness, instruction, and advice, consulting, and infrastructure project for SMEs. So as you see in Korea, there is many ministries. So joint ministry seminars for SMEs to observe EU CBAM regulation. So this year we have 6 times all of the cities like Seoul, Gangnam, and Daegu, Daejeon, Pohang, and Seoul as well. So we have planned 6, and out of 5 out of 6 we already done. And this December we will have the last one. And we published some document for the SMEs to understand what's going on out there, implementation guidelines and translations, and some manuals, and how to easy understand the guide to emission calculation things. But as you see, this is, I think, expertise area, not ordinary person in company to follow in given very limited time. Like Samsung, LG Electronics, or Hyundai Motors, SK Hynix, those people can do because they have their own squad. But small, medium enterprises, they don't have any responsible person. So I think it is very crucial. And we operate a CBAM help desk. We have a hotline. If they call to us, we respond to the overall and in detail as well. We introduce some consultant, we introduce some documents as well. And this is not for enough for Ministry of this is not enough for SMEs. So Ministry of SMEs and Startup and Ministry of Climate Change, Energy and Environment also prepare some consulting projects. So Korea SME and startup agency and Korea and environment management company providing SMEs and medium market enterprises and small medium enterprises providing consulting project. If they require to government, then government aid like around like 1,000 euro per project or 10,000 euro to help them to understand or is installing some system things. So we're doing that. And another supports governmental carbon emission reduction support project, including greenhouse gas emission reduction, high efficiency equipment installation support, and renewable energy use and installation support. This kind of project is provided for Korea government. Thank you.
Thank you, Johan. You give us a lot of very interesting information on how Korea is seriously facing this challenge of the CBAM. You mentioned POSCO, and this in a few hours from now we will have a side event in POSCO when together with the World Steel Association. POSCO is an important steel company, as I mentioned before, and we will discuss about the evolution of ISO standards together. Right. And this to underline one more time how important is to work with the international standard, to have a common rules already applicable in the same way in all countries around the world. Instead, to have rules like CBAM that is developed by a single region, single country, with all the difficulties in replication to apply this kind of approach in different countries. But before, I have a lot of points here in my agenda following your conversation. But before, I'd like to open the floor if there is anybody that has any curiosity, any question, any comment in connection with what presented by Yo-Han, Choi. I don't see any for the moment. So one point that we were discussing before started the milk tea corner. This is a very particular case. We have had several events in Italy describing tea corner from the European perspective. But this is the first time that we are looking from the other side, from outside in direction of Europe, because this you mentioned before that is a crucial situation where we have a regulation issued by Europe, but the implication for the implementation is outside of Europe.
Right.
And this is also part of discussion here at the COP, because the question is it polite to have an unilateral action that implies that other countries need to follow this kind of rules?
It is not polite, I think. However, as I told you, Korea is a small country. Our market is small. So we cannot sell 100 million cars within Korean market. We cannot sell 10 million cars within Korean market. We need to sell to abroad. And most of them sell to European countries, American countries, Asian countries. So we need to approach to another market. And because of that, European market is very important for us. And you raise the policy to protect how can I say, all the environment, right? And I think yeah, it is one of option to protect the European market. However, I think the intention is very good because my background is environmental engineering. So I think this is work, because if European Commission do not regulate these things, I think many Korean companies do not think about the environmental or climate change things. So I think this is good. And the point is that Korea companies, Korea government willingness to participate in how can I say, how to follow up to protect climate change and environment, but it is not clear for us. It is very difficult, and we want to participate in if you let us know how it works, then we will be the first follower of a European policy. But it is very difficult to understand. So there is a very big confusion within Korean companies. For example, Hyundai Motors recently has issue with the French eco bonus program. Eco bonus program. It is based on carbon footprint, but the carbon footprint calculation method is not clear and not consistent, not even conservative. So it is very, not fair. So it is very difficult to follow up. Nowadays, it is better than before and still under communication, but it is open to Korea company. And I know that there is another political issues out there, but at least to let companies understand what is exactly they following, then it is easier for them to follow. And in case of UK eco bonus program for the automotive as well, UK just provide the SBTi as a requirement. Hyundai Motors go to SBTi within 3 months, obtain all the certificates. Korean company willingness to participate and willingness to observe what you require. I know that it is pricing burden, and if it is not beyond their calculation, they cannot. But if it is reasonable and if it is meaningful, Korea company trying to do their best, I think.
Yeah, you touch another important point. When you say that in some way this kind of initiative are welcome from the perspective of the Ministry of Industry and the key tech in the sense that they are able to push the change of the market, the improvement, the direction of the decarbonization pathway in some way. The point is how this kind of tool is managed, no? So how if it's managed directly by foreign countries without the implication or the involvement of the Korean country. So let me give another example that could be useful in our discussion. In the past, in a UETS, the aviation system was included.
Right.
And this implied that all the foreign company was obliged to be there.
Of course, yeah.
And then the evolution was not to destroy the ETS for aviation, but was to evolve the ETS for aviation from ETS to ECAO CORSIA. The same happened for shipping. MRV shipping was a regulation in Europe, was obliged all the ship to be in the system. And then the evolution was not to destroy, but to evolve in the IMO, International Maritime Organization, DCS, another system. So my point of view, and there's a kind of, I want to provoke you in some way, I believe that the idea of CBAM is like a draft idea in this moment. They need to be reshaped, maybe even in the context of the CCC or the COP, because I believe there will be some space for an evolution of CBAM using international rules like as a standard, trusting on a verification accreditation system in other countries. So my perspective is we can expect to have an evolution in this direction. What do you think?
I think I support you regarding the standardization things. For example, in case of CBAM, there is many products, but if the CN code regulated, then the product is regulated. If the CN code is not applied, then the product is not applied. Then each product has its own, how can I say, calculation scope need to be standardized. And nowadays it is given by CBAM implementing measure or something, but it is not clear for now. And if it is given by European Commission, I think it is illegal, like against European WTO TBT agreement, because WTO TBT agreement require if provide any kind of standard and technical regulation and the conformity assessment, they should follow international standard. Maybe it is shall. So in case of this, if those kind of criteria given by international standard, then it is easier for outside of European Commission, easy to follow, and we cannot raise any issue against WTO TBT agreement things. And actually, I agree with that. Korea has a Korean ETS scheme as well. And Korea ministry also want to interconnect with the European ETS and Korean ETS, any other ETS as well. But as you see, there is many differences between these two schemes. So it is not easy. But we need to approach it based on the, I think, international accreditation approaches or international standardization approaches, because it is existing mutual and multilateral recognition each other schemes, and I think it is the only working or standing scheme for multilaterally accredited or recognized scheme. So, and this could contribute to expansion of these CBAM schemes to worldwide, because actually Korea want to do these CBAM things, but as I told you, Korea market is too small. If we do this CBAM, then if the other countries raise their worth more higher, we cannot. So we just following up any other countries doing that, just following up, and we will introduce very lately and delayed. So, however, I support personally to expansion of these CBAM likewise tools worldwide?
Yeah, I have another immediate reaction, but before to limit the conversation between me and Johan, I always ask if you have any question from the floor. So please raise your hand, open your microphone, and be free to be part of the conversation. I don't see any microphone, so I will continue with you, Johan, on this conversation because you mentioned ETS. Is it also important to underline that where there are some other price mechanisms in place, there will be no need to pay for CBAM. No, if there is the recognition or the in terms of level of effort or price for the carbon. So it is very interesting. So it's a part of another conversation, another dialogue between Korea and European Commission. And if we go back one step and we look for the direction of the pressure, so we see this kind of mechanism like the pressure to facilitate the alignment for ETS schemes, for example, in Europe and Korea, or the pressure to maybe even to develop your own CBAM scheme in Korea. Do you have any idea in this direction, any discussion? Good question.
I'd love to have Korean CBAM, but Korea government would not. Because Korea government, especially Korea Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resource, they are focused on trading. So if Korea introduce these CBAM things, will not good for Korea trade competitiveness. European Commission can do, and the French, UK can do. And US can do, but Korean cannot.
Okay. No question. And one more time, one more point. You mentioned, in my view, the very critical point, small, medium enterprise. Because I believe POSCO will be disturbed by the CBAM, but they will manage without any problem. The small medium enterprise, this is really the crucial point, the difficult point for the national level. What do you think?
Okay, here is the Korean steel and iron industry like this. POSCO is a world top five company of steel and iron area. So they import iron ore from South America or from Australia and any other countries. And we have the things and the caucus as well, and we are produce cold rolled steel, or there is steel plate, steel pipe, and those kind of many things, and all the things produced by POSCO. So POSCO is a so big company. They have their own team to countermeasure the things. However, after after the supply chain, there is a small medium enterprises who buy this coil from the POSCO, and they processing another product, and they could sell this steel and iron product to European country, but they are not enough big, so very difficult to understand what is this meant for. And even POSCO tell their client, okay, when you buy these things, you need to have this information, so I give it to you. So you need to, with this information, calculate your own embedded emission, and you need to submit to CBAM registry or something, but they do not understand. So recently, we are trying to make awareness, because in Korea there is many industrial complex. So we are coming to industrial complex. We giving explanation to those companies, but they do not want to listen. They are busy. They don't want to listen. And when they come to us, when they send their product to the European customs, and at the customs require this kind of information. Okay, so this is reality in Korea.
Thank you. We are in conclusion of this milk tea corner, and let me only make a joke, because in this moment we are discussing of CBAM, but in this moment in the COP30 in Belém, they are discussing on the BAM, the Belém Action Mechanism. So there are some similarity in terms of the name between CBAM and the BAM. The second point is that tomorrow we have our regular tea corner, so we'll be in Italian, will be a kind of sharing of what is ongoing this moment in negotiation, the expectation for the negotiation. Let me close. Thanks really a lot, Choi, for your participation. We think this is a kind of historical event for us, the first event of the Milk Tea Corner dedicated to Asia, and we are very happy to have this opportunity to have this conversation with you. Thank you, Johan, and see you everybody next day.
You.
Bye-bye.
See you.